It's that time of the day for our wonderful speeches. Our next speaker, speaker number 1, will share with us 3 steps to overcoming one of the greatest obstacles to a successful project. Anthony Ala is an author, and the title of his new book is New Rules for Hybrid Leaders. He will now share 3 powerful steps he has found most helpful in overcoming one of the greatest obstacles to successful project. Anthony, I can't wait to hear your speech. Take it away.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Well, it's exciting time. I am trying to think of this beautiful word, serotonin experience in this weather and the background that we have. With that, I'm going to share an experience that I had as a child. We used to play the King of the Mountain. In the middle of the pool was this sliver of a metal slab that we would walk on top of, and we would just simply try to push the other person aside, and whoever was on top would be king of the mountain. Such an exciting time, great play, fantastic joy. I couldn't wait to get on there and make sure that I'm the last guy standing up, although it doesn't always happen that way. The amazing part, what was good as a child, is something that I've had to learn to put away. And when we don't put away childish things and bring it into the workplace, we cause major conflicts and results in projects failing. If everybody wants to be king of the mountain, we have unbelievable challenges that no amount of process management can overcome. It happened not too long ago when this multinational company had 2 senior executives trying to get their projects done. And the CEO kept saying, why is it that I keep seeing conflicts across these divisions? Come to find out, these 2 senior executives were butting heads and they were finding ways to sabotage each other. They had big problems, and no matter what he tried to incentivize them, he could not solve the problem. So he brought in an executive coach and said, can you solve this problem? I said, well, I don't know, we'll try. Let's see if they'll respond to something. And I brought in 3 steps. And I'm going to walk you through that so that maybe you can apply it to your projects, and I hope it will help you succeed as well. The first step that we applied with these 2 folks, we said, can you, number 1, grab a piece of paper and be brutally honest, write on this paper everything you're feeling, all the anger, all the rage, all disappointment, all that you're experiencing. I want you to write it down, but go into private rooms. You're not going to share this with me, and you're not going to tell each other. Just imagine if you could let out your whole heart and let them have it, what would you write? And both executives went out and they start writing this down. Why do I have these executives do this? Because I learned a long time ago that if you try to cover up your heart, you don't solve anything. It's no different than trying to put a fig leaf to cover up your nakedness like Adam and Eve did, and we have major problems in the world because of it. It's easier if you bring light to the situation, to go deep into your heart, to face the darkness rather than try to ignore it. If you do it just that way, and you're able to actually see the truth sets people free. That darkness will develop into a demanding spirit that will either unconsciously or consciously cause constant problems. In this case, they both came back. And I noticed that one executive had full papers written out, several pages, and the other executive, equals amount of papers. They both had a lot of negative problems with one another. I said, congratulations, I'm glad you've done this. If I just left them there, that would be horrible. There is this group of psychologists that say, yeah, just go out and let them have it and get it off your chest, and that's really good. No, 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 please don't do that. That would be destructive to every process and every project you can imagine. And some people think that's the right way. It is not. What I said was, right now, you've got it off your chest. You've put it on a piece of paper. If I left you there, it's going to be a big problem, but I'm not going to leave you there. Don't worry. I'm going to take you to the next step. And in the next step, step number 2, so now go back to your room, and I want you to do something. I want you to write on that piece of paper something that I'm about to reveal to you as I share this story. And I shared this story. I said there was once, not long ago, when a rich man had 2 sons. And as he was trying to help cultivate character in his sons, one of the sons came and said, "Dad, I don't want to wait till you die before I get all your money. I want to have half of my inheritance right now." The father graciously said, "Sure, son, no problem." Cashed out his assets, gave half of them to his son. His son was super overwhelmingly excited, like, I've got access to all the money. And he went out and burned through it year after year. Within a very short number of years, he ran out. And then he was heavily partying, addicted to drugs, having major problems with drinking, to the point that now his job was simply hiding with the pigs and working with the pigs, trying to just find some way to make money. And as he was sitting there, he started hitting himself in the head and said, wait a minute, my dad's worst workers don't have life the way I have it. Why don't I go back to my dad and just said, I blew it, I'm willing to be a menial worker. At least I'll have a better life than I have now. What he didn't know was the father had been keeping an eye out for him every day. He would come out and look from afar and say, is my son coming? Is my son coming? I'm waiting for my son to come back. And when the son was coming towards him, the father just ran towards him. And before the son could even get a word out, he hugged him and embraced him and said, son, I love you. I'm so glad you're back. And completely embraced him with mercy. Wouldn't even let him get a word out to say, I'm so sorry. Just said, I love you, I love you, I love you. Just mercy, mercy, mercy. And overjoyed, celebrating, excitement, incredible love flowing between these two. I asked these executives, if you would now, go into your room and on a piece of paper, I want you to write out, just like this father and this son, I want you to write out your confession as the prodigal son. Just confess. I have been angry. I've been enraged. I've been holding on to my grudges. Just write it out and confess. But as you do, I want you to also realize that God is right there with you to embrace you with love and mercy. And I want you to write out how merciful he is, how loving he is, just like the Father, and he's loving you and embracing you, loving you just as you are right now. And both of them went out and they wrote. And when they came back, I noticed that one executive brought, and she had equal amount of sheet, just wrote out all the mercy that she was experiencing. The other executive had just a little bit written out. And he was basically saying, I don't think there's really much. I'm pretty much justified where I'm at, and there's not really much for me to be receiving forgiveness for. I knew there was going to be a problem. But I said, okay, let's try to go to the third step. And when we went to the third step, I added to this story. I said, remember there were 2 brothers? Well, there was a second brother. And that second brother said, how dare you, Dad? You're throwing a party, you're embracing my brother like he's done nothing. He messed up everything. I'm here working my butt off and doing everything you're telling me to do, and you're loving him like nothing happened. Well, he had this judgmental spirit. And as long as you hold on to that judgmental spirit, you will be draining yourself out. So I ask each of these executives to go to their room and begin to release to one another that same mercy, that same love, that same forgiveness that they've just been given to themselves from God. And just give that to them just as they had received. Just love others, just be merciful, and go write it out. The one executive came out and wrote it out. And as she did, she came back. You could see her face shone with incredible joy and release, and pressure was released, and she was happy. The other executive came back. He still had a growl in his face and very little written down. They went back to get their projects done, and the one executive that had written out and gone through the 3 steps began to give this same experience to her workers and to the workers on the other side in all divisions, and began to teach them, saying, I want you to love, I want you to be merciful, I want you to, and go through these 3 steps. As they did, the company was working much better together harmoniously, but this other executive was constantly getting in the way. Well, the coach had no choice. Since he'd been hired by the company, he had to give a report to the CEO and said, you've got a problem. One executive has gone through the 3 steps and is flowing this great agape within your company, but the other one is constantly being a blocker and refuses to do the work. The CEO said boldly, I'm willing to let the one executive go, let the elder brother spirit be gone from this company, and let agape reign in our company. And wow, what incredible relief. The company was able to experience greater harmony across multiple divisions as people began to cleanse their heart and flow with greater relational connections, encouraging one another. When you hear this story, I want you to think about someone in your life that maybe you have anger towards, someone that's hurt you, and you're justifiably upset with them, and say, how are you going to apply this after this speech? Take out a sheet of paper and follow exactly these same steps. Write out how you're feeling about that person, just as if you're going to get it off your chest. Then I want you to go step 2 and embrace the mercy and the love that's available to you like the father for that son. And the 3rd step, I want you to write out that forgiveness and get it off your chest towards that person. Just release it and watch what happens in your life. What you cannot control is how someone else will respond. What you can control is how you will choose to respond, how your heart will be flowing with agape or not. That's the only thing you can control. Then with your free will, make that positive choice. If you do and follow these 3 steps, I would love it if you would share with me what happens in your life, what happens in your heart, what happens in your relationships, what kind of results you get. Maybe there's a customer that's constantly getting on your nerves. Write it out. I've had to write this out to my customers when they've done something wrong to me. And I'm amazed how much greater release I have in my own life as I do this. Now, this is only one of the stories that I shared in a recent book called New Rules for Hybrid Leaders that I finally got published this Friday. I'm so happy, I'm excited, rejoicing. Thank God, I'm on cloud 9. I can't believe finally got through this. 4 manuscripts to get through, and finally this one is out there and is out available. If you are inclined, go out and get it and get more of these stories, more of these principles, and apply this agape model in your company and get more copies, share with others, encourage others. In fact, what I've done with this book, the book, when people buy it, I've even given a workbook so people can take time applying it. And I'm going to give more videos like this so people can apply, just to be able to have this agape experience for more people out there. There are a lot of other steps I could share from the book. Obviously, we're limited in time. But I want you, in conclusion, to take this away. Will you apply these micro actions that seemingly are simple 3 steps and live out this model in your own life and give this kind of love and mercy to your family members, to your friends, your co-workers, and especially to your enemies? Accept this special call. If you do, I promise you, you will experience a greater love, unblock those things that are eating away inside of you, and you will experience that asomatos purpose in your life, incorporeal, higher spiritual purpose. Madam Toastmaster.
I have the honor of welcoming Rafia Safi. She will be speaking to us about habits and how massive success does not always require huge changes, and that all you need to do sometimes is just make small habit changes, and that can lead to a lot of changes. Rafia, we're all excited to hear what you have to share today. Take it away, Rafia.
Thank you, Madam Toastmasters. Good evening, Madam Toastmasters and the fellow friends. Today, I'm going to ask you a question. Are you all or any one of you is struggling with your bad habits? Any one of you? Okay, quite a few of you. Okay, and don't worry, I'm one of you. And I'm one of you, and the information that I'm going to share with you, that is basically I'm telling to myself. It's not for you only. I'm addressing to myself. There are a lot of habits which I have been working on, and it feels that I am not having any results. And I see that, okay, I'm going nowhere. So then during my recent discussion with my friend, she mentioned me about a book that's called Atomic Habits, and it's written by James Clear. After starting and reading that book, it opened my eyes and it gave me a lot of ideas how I can improve myself, how I can focus, and how I can get rid of my old and annoying habits. What are habits? A habit is a routine of behavior that is regularly repeated and tends to occur unconsciously. Our success is the result of our habits. It is not one thing in a lifetime. It's not one in a lifetime thing. It's not important where we stand. It is not important if we are successful right now or we are not successful. What is important to look where our habits are taking us. Are our habits taking us to the path of success, or they're taking us away from the success? So that's what we have to look, and we have to check ourselves where we stand. If you want to look yourself where you will be maybe after a couple of years. So we have to see the curve of tiny successes and the tiny losses. That's what we have to see. And James also told about in this book about the focus on the goal, not on the system. Focus on the system, sorry, not on the goal. That's something he also mentioned about that, and we'll talk about that later on. And what are habits? Habits are, like we all just talked about, that the habits, they are the behavior, the routine behavior that we have adapted in different ways. Habits are compound for you. It can compound for you or against you. So they are the double-edged sword. So they can go in favor of you. They can go against you. And we have to see the direction of those habits, and we have to check where we stand. So these directions are right way, they're going right way, or they're going the other way. And the small change in your life can make a big difference. Like the big things, they don't come eventually. They don't come like all of a sudden. It takes time. And the time magnifies the margin between the success and failure. It will multiply what you feed. Good habits will make time your ally, and the bad habits will make time your enemy. So when we are doing any task, or if we are aiming for anything, we have to be kind of a little bit consistent. We have to be crossing the threshold. So that's the threshold, and sometimes we see and we realize that, okay, we are working on some task and it's not coming up. We don't see the results, and we just give up, and we think that, okay, we cannot do it anymore. So and we gave up, and then we just come back to our old habits. And that is something that we need to be looking, because all the effort that you are putting in building your habits, in your good habits, they are not wasted. They show eventually later on. I mean, your success is basically the result of a lot of your previous action that you have done in the past. And in this book, James Clear, he said about the habits, they often appear to make no difference until you cross the critical threshold and unlock the new level of performance. And he mentioned about he mentioned a time about, and he said that it's the plateau of latent potential. And he said that while you're moving up, you are building your habits, there is a valley of disappointment that comes in between. And a lot of times, like I said before, that we think that, okay, our habits are not building and we are not gaining anything. But actually, this is the valley of disappointment, and we have to just keep going up and up, and we have to reach to that potential, to that threshold. And then all of a sudden we see the success. We see, okay, well, that's what we wanted. So the consistency is very important, and we have to be just continuing doing our good habits, and we have to be building up all our habits that we want to. And he also said about that if you want to be a millionaire, he said that you don't get millionaire in 1 day or 2 days. You accumulate your money, and day by day, and then you see the results in months or maybe in years. The same way, if you want to learn a language, your language does not comes in 1 or 2 days. So it takes time. So you have to be just keep multiplying and keep adding it to that. And the James also talked about, as I said before, he talks about the system. He said that focused on system, not the goals, because the goals are the byproduct of the system. If there's a system that you have already established, you will get goal automatically. That's what he said. And he said, like, suppose if there's an entrepreneur who wants to start a $1 million business, so he has to establish the system. The system is like, he is going to produce the ideas, he's going to hire the workers, and he's going to conduct the marketing campaign. So when he is following that system, eventually he's going to meet his goal. So that's what he said. So in the end, I'm going to wrap up, and I'm going to tell you something that we can take away from today's meeting, or today's talk that I just presented, that just check yourself and find your direction of your habits, because massive success does not always require huge changes. A small habit change can change everything. And this is the takeaway for myself also, and for you as well. Thank you very much. Back to you, Madam Toastmasters.
Yes, okay, thank you. The next portion of our meeting is going to hand it over to our table topic, Mr. Table Topics Master. He's going to ask theme-aligned questions for the audience to practice impromptu speaking. Over to you, Mr. Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. What a great meeting we are having tonight. I have some prepared questions that I already have with me. And it's going to go this way. Within 3 seconds or 5 seconds, I will need a volunteer. But if I don't find it, I will now have to pick one. Will anyone want to volunteer for the first question? Any volunteer for the question? Go in.
Yeah, I can volunteer.
Okay. Apana, the question I want to ask you is a very direct question. If you look at the theme of our meeting tonight, it's about staying focused. And as a club, we have also metric to measure whether we are staying focused in order to achieve those goals. Now, I want to ask you, if you have the power to change one thing in Southwest Project Management Toastmasters Club, what would be that one thing?
A very good question, Toastmaster. So I've been pretty new to this club. I think it's probably my 4th or 5th meeting. It's I'm still observing and getting to know each one of you, and the way you speak, the way you deliver, and the way the meetings are conducted. Given my experience here, I believe a couple of things that can be implemented in the short duration that I've been here is, first thing is turning on the videos for everyone, which I feel many of us, I'm guilty of it myself, which I do not do, but that will definitely help bringing the focus and seeing people's expressions during the meeting, and also help the speaker and the audience feel more engaged during the meeting. That's one thing that we all can implement as a prerequisite or a requirement for the entire meeting. Of course, given the breaks that people want to take to relax, that can be given. But for the most part, turning on the video, and also we all do a very good job in appreciating the speakers. Maybe some people do not do it. That will appreciating the speakers and providing honest feedback. Always, it may be direct, it may be negative also, but it'll be a critical feedback to help in the development of the person and helping improving the person's speech. So these are the two things that I definitely feel we should implement as a Toastmasters Club going forward. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Apana. We are a club, and all we do is through the feedback we get, and we get better and better. And this is a very good environment for learning because we are supportive to each other. Thank you. Second question. Do I have a volunteer? Anthony, I'm picking you.
Me?
The question I want to ask you, Anthony, before June 2014, I had no idea what Toastmasters mean. Assuming this was 2014 and I'm before you, what would be your testimony in order to convince me to join Toastmaster?
I love that question. Thank you, Mr. Tabletop Master. I would like to tell everyone that you shouldn't join Toastmasters unless you know that you want to improve your speaking skills and your leadership skills. But in order to improve that, Toastmasters has a model and a system that works with people at all levels. Totally fearful, terrified of speaking people, and those who are world-renowned professional speakers can benefit from this model. When you come to Toastmasters to maximize your experience, predefine what is your objective. How can you maximize the benefits you're going to get personally and professionally? Be very clear about your goal for that 1 year and reverse engineer that to every time that you're volunteering for a role, saying, how can I apply this role to give my whole heart into this role to help me meet my goal, my objectives? And when you do, also look at Toastmasters as an incredible place to build friendships and relationships with people that constantly encourage one another. This is a safe environment to fail. Take chances, come out, give a speech that you're not ready for. Even when called on for impromptu speaking, just do your best and people will clap for you, encourage you, and cheer you on. And every time you do, you build up your confidence, you will improve your skills. And when you go out into the workplace, people will be just wondering, how the heck did you just become such an incredible speaker compared to where you were a year ago? And celebrate your progress with one another. Pick up the phone, call someone else during the week and say, I just want to tell you what a great job you did. I want to reach out to you. I want to form this friendship. I don't want to just be limited to this meeting, but I actually want to develop healthy relationships with my fellow Toastmaster members. Those would be the advice that I would give to someone brand new to experience their greatest experience within Toastmasters.
Thank you so much, Anthony. I believe it's very helpful because in this month of September, while we are trying to learn, it is also important for us to invite others to also experience the same learning we are learning. Thank you, Anthony. My number 3 question, who is willing to volunteer?
I'll volunteer.
Thank you. Go ahead. The question I want to ask you, you've been part of developing the club success plan. And you know the metrics that are in there. What is the one educational goal or one goal in this club you would want to achieve this year?
Very good question for me, especially. Actually, that was one of my goals for this year personally, at the personal level, was to complete my development leadership path all the way. That's what I kind of promised Carol that I will be doing. And by the time we come to May, at the end of our season, I will be done with all my tasks and all my assignments. So I think it's very important for all the members to get focused and accomplish one of those rules, not only for the benefit of the club, which is very important, but also for the personal benefit, because it's not only giving the speech without any continuity or without any purpose. I think we all have to have focus and purpose in the actions that we take in life. And I think Toastmaster with this path give us the opportunity to actually have determination and focus in one single task, one single goal. So I think it's very important. It's an opportunity for us to practice those goals, to stay focused. And in the presentation that we got from Rafia, that we can plan and we can go through the focus and the action that we do every day in planning for those presentations, for those speeches, gathering all the information, participating in the club in different ways. That is what brings us to success in the long term. So I think this question actually, for me, it summarizes everything that we have been discussing today: to stay focused, and to plan for success, to work for success, to take advantage of Toastmasters. And I will say this organization, like many other organizations, you get out of this organization just in direct proportion of how much you put into the organization. So if you really want to get the best out of this organization, I really encourage everybody, executive team and members, to participate, to attend the meetings, to be involved every single day. Thank you very much, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Jorge. That was a great answer. And I believe each and every one of us, it's time for us to go back and ask ourselves the same question. This year, what is that goal you want to achieve in this club in order to also help the club to achieve the desired goal for this year? I believe since we didn't have a third speech, I can still have number 4 question. Madam Timer, do I still have that time?
Sorry, I try to find my unmute button. Yes, I think you can do another speaker.
Okay, so the very last question I have here, would anyone want to volunteer to answer the question? Okay, Jessica, thank you. Jessica, take your mind back to the first very day you attended Southwest Project Management Toastmaster Club meeting. What made you come back and decided to become a member?
Thank you, Mr. President and Mr. Table Topic Master. I came to Toastmaster meeting back in 2014. I think I came here the meeting before we were chartered, and then I came back for the charter meeting. So I'm actually attend one of the earliest meeting for this club. But then I never returned until 3 years after. And I keep getting emails from Anthony, from different members, and telling me the things going on. And I always want to improve my leadership and speaking skills, even though it took me 3 years, but I still returned. And after I came back, I I was talking to Anthony and the other members in this club, and also talking about different goals, and then how's everybody's progress. And I noticed the changes from the people that they made, and also other reasons that make me decided to come back. So, and I did get a lot of benefit from coming back and then staying in this club as a member, and then as in the leadership, take some leadership roles, and now this have paid me back with my first job in America, with my improvement at work, become project manager, and then being able to host all the meetings. And that's really, really helpful benefit from this experience with the club. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Tonight, as we stay focused, think about Southwest Project Management Club. Think about how you can learn based on the opportunities that are available. And in the process of your learning, bring someone along with you. Like Anthony shared, give out the grace, give out the mercy, give out the compassion, give out the forgiveness. In our own, let's learn together and become better.
Speech evaluators. Over to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Toastmasters. So tonight for our evaluator for speaker number 1, we'll have Susan Ali. She actually will be evaluating her husband. Susan.
Thank you. Anthony, you have a very unique gift of being able to see things that are much deeper than just the surface, and applying solution not only to the symptom, but to the disease itself. I will evaluate your speech as follows: content, delivery, and connection. As far as content, you're focusing on how to unlock the unconscious barriers in our hearts that are keeping us from having more successful projects and healthier relationships. And you gave us 3 steps. The first one, be honest with myself, acknowledging that we have pain, anger, and disappointments. Step number 2, receiving God's forgiveness and understanding and mercy towards me. Number 3, after receiving love and mercy in your heart, in turn, release it to someone who has hurt you badly. May it be a coworker, a boss, a client, or maybe a spouse, a friend. If everyone operates in this kind of mindset, I can imagine how our lives and relationship would be so healthy, with so much healthier and harmonious. One suggestion I have at the beginning of your speech, you have mentioned a few situations leading to the 3 points. It might be better to choose just one strong solution or one strong situation that go right in, and then go right into the point to make the content tighter. As far as delivery, you always have an incredible stage presence, even via Zoom. You spoke with authority and authenticity. Your messages are often powerful because they come from your heart, who wants nothing short of the best of other people. You live the agape model. As far as connection, at the end of your speech, you mentioned that people can get a copy of your book to explore and develop this transformational concept, something that they can benefit from beyond this speech. One golden moment that I caught, the story of the prodigal son. You were deeply moved and almost lost your voice. it was from your heart. At that moment, you truly see the mercy and love that the Father offered to the undeserving prodigal son. And you see that it is also possible for us to receive the gift and that love to other people. Anthony, well done.
Thank you very much, Susan. Very powerful evaluation. Thank you. Appreciate it. So for our second evaluator of the night, of the evening, we have Akin. And Akin will be evaluating our speaker number 2.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Rafia, I will tell you that you are one of the reasons I keep coming to this club. Number one, and I'm not making this up. Number one, you are one person that I know. You stretch yourself. You do the best that you can. Perhaps the Toastmasters International should look for opportunities to give award to the most improved speaker during every meeting. If that's the case, I'm sure without a doubt you will be the winner tonight. This is not to underrate your fellow speaker, Mr. Ally. Tonight, very quickly, I will be using what I call the code methodology to evaluate you. C for content, O for opportunity, D for delivery, and E for ending. In terms of content, Rafia, I really like the fact that you drew us in as your audience by asking us a question. How many of you want to get rid of your bad habits? Who doesn't have a habit? And you did not just ask us the question as if you are preaching to us. You told us your own personal example. You made us believe that, look, I am one of you. I mean, what a way to engage your audience. You defined habits, and you said it's a routine of behavior that is regularly repeated and tend to occur subconsciously. What a way to let us understand what habit actually means. In terms of opportunity, there's only one that I'm just going to recommend to you, which is eye contact. Do the best that you can. I know we're in a virtual environment. Do the best that you can to look at us, your audience, as much as possible. You did that, but you could probably have done more than that. In terms of delivery, you had a very structured speech, and that really drew me to you. I like how you started with the definition, asking us questions, the story of your friend, then you gave us 2 scenarios, and you ended it. That means you have practiced. Well done. In terms of E, the ending, you said, and I quote, there is one thing I would like you to take away. I mean, what a way. Even whatever you said afterwards, everybody listening to you, okay, what am I taking away? That is the way to do it. I am super, super proud of you, and I'm excited, not just because of what you can do today, but what the future holds for you within the Toastmasters International and in your personal life. Please, there's one thing that I'm going to end it. Do it again. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
We appreciate you. Let's keep on being focused and move the club forward as we learn along. Thank you and good night.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
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 Carol, it's nice to see your face again.
Ukpai.